Could you imagine a mother bear approaching a human for assistance with her cub, or an elephant seeking out vets after being wounded by a bullet? While these scenarios might seem straight out of a storybook, they're real events showcasing the astonishing and unexpected intelligence of animals. In today's video, join me as we dive into these and other remarkable tales of animals reaching out to humans for aid. Whale is looking for help. A group of people from Australia are resting on a boat, teenagers leaning over the water. Nothing surprises us until a whale shows up on the surface next to the boat. To be precise, it's a southern right whale. These whales can be found off the coast of South America, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. This species reaches 18 meters in length, so such a giant can easily flip over a small vessel. But the whale didn't come for a fight, but for help. The footage shows the teenager pulling a piece of fishing net with plastic piece entangled from it in the whale's mouth. As soon as the plastic was removed, the whale immediately retreated to the depths. The whale, the bear, and the fox are three such different animals, but in a moment of despair, they all decided to ask people for help. If they were looking for people on purpose, it proves that animals have the ability to think abstractly. After all, the motive for such an action must have been a calculation based on weighing risks and benefits and comparing them with previous experience. It turns out that animals have developed a clear system of communication and learning, and the following stories can prove it. Mother bear goes for help. It all started with a family of bears that was crossing the forest. In order to cross into new territory, they needed to cross a river. Few people know, but brown bears and grizzly bears often die trying to cross rivers with strong currents, but often there's no other escape route, especially if a bear is being chased by hunters or if there's no food left in the old area. But this time, the family safely made it to the other side. Only the last bear cub could not make it to the land. It got entangled in the fishing nets left on the bottom. Got scared and began to flounder, though it tangles the nets even more. The mother bear immediately rushed to help its son. It spent several hours trying to free it, but all its efforts were in vain. The mother realized that it could not cope by itself, swam across the river again, and disappeared into the woods. It managed to find a little town 4 kilometers from the river. It knew that going out to people involved risks, but for the sake of its cub, it went against its natural instinct. The bear entered the small town and began to look for a rescuer, and it found one in a man mowing the bushes in the backyard. He was alerted to the bear's approach by the dogs which were barking. When he turned around, the animal was 5 meters away. The man froze, trying to remain calm and think of ways to retreat, but the bear only howled loudly and rushed back into the woods. Then it went back into the yard, howled, and headed toward the woods again. The mother bear repeated this trick several times, and the man decided to follow it. He armed himself with a rifle, took the dog with him, and entered the forest. The strange travel lasted for several kilometers, but as soon as the man began to slow down, the mother bear let out the same desperate long howl. Everything became clearer when they reached the river, and the man saw the bear cub in the nets. When the mother bear's idea became obvious to the man, he decided to help. He went into the river and freed the cub. The nets were so tightly entangled around it that the man had to use an army knife. As soon as the cub got rid of the nets, it rushed to its mother. The man returned to the shore. Now, he and the bear family were separated by the river. Only now, another adult bear appeared from behind the bushes on the opposite side. It was probably the father, guarding the cub while the mother went to get help. But the most amazing thing about this story is that the man even got the bear's thanks. He'd already turned and was about to leave when he heard a low roar. The rescued bear cub was looking straight at him from the other side. Seconds later, it roared again as if trying to say something. The happy man rushed home where he told his friends about everything, though the story of the bear cub is touching and incredible. It does not seem to have enough facts and proof. The good thing is that this cannot be said of the following stories. Stay tuned and you'll learn about even more interesting stories of animals. The whale that came to the surface with plastic piece in its mouth, the elephant that came to the vets with a bullet wound, the miraculous rescue of one shark, and much more are further in this video. The Guest from the Woods. This video was taken in June of 2013. The animal is a young fox whose head is stuck in a glass jar. Apparently, there was something very tasty at the bottom, but it was impossible to free itself from captivity. So, the fox came out to people on its own. Well, it was the right decision because one man easily helped the animal. Immediately after the miraculous rescue, the fox ran back into the woods, but at the end, turned around. Perhaps this gesture should be regarded as gratitude, but why did the fox dare to go to the men in the first place? Most likely it's due to its age, because old and experienced foxes are acquainted with the downside of human walks in the woods. Hunters and poachers skeptics, of course, will immediately state that it was just a coincidence, and the fox might not have seen where it was going because of the jar on its head. But for the doubters, I have another story. It's so amazing that it's hard to ignore. Raven on the farm. According to the author of this video, uploaded on the internet in 2013, a wild raven came to his farm. The bird sat on the fence and cawed for about an hour. The man went to see what was wrong with it, and when he got close to the raven, it wouldn't fly away. It turned out that the bird had several porcupine needles stuck in its head and couldn't get rid of them on its own. The farmer decided to help the raven, who patiently stayed in place while the needles were removed. By the way, the hero of this story did not disappear immediately. It continued sitting on the fence until late in the evening and flew away at nightfall. I'd like to say that most of the time, humans do not even realize that animals are constantly watching us. For example, a bird, if you feed it regularly in the park, it will soon trust you and eat from your hand. But that doesn't mean that the bird will start trusting all humans at once. Scientific tests have shown that many species are able to distinguish people and respond to everyone individually. For example, ravens, one of which I just told you about, are even able to distinguish people's faces. Moreover, they clearly remember the features of their abusers. But the raven from the farm was lucky. Its previous experience told it that it is possible to seek help from people. Elephant is looking for vets. Even the largest individuals in the animal kingdom may need human help. Here's a story from a national wildlife refuge in Zimbabwe. Local veterinarians received a report that an injured elephant had been spotted near the edge of the forest. It was supposed to take hours to find the injured animal, but it came on its own, as if it knew that doctors were coming in that cheek to help, and help did come. The veterinarians found a bullet wound on the forehead of the animal. Obviously, poachers got into the territory of the wildlife refuge. Fortunately, the bullet didn't strike vital organs, but it still had to be taken out. During the operation, the elephant was put to sleep, but as soon as it woke up, it immediately went to check the result, scratching its head on the nearest tree. Apparently, it was satisfied with the work of the vets, and it calmly walked away. Rescue underwater. Let's move from hot Africa to the depths of the ocean. During a diving near Hawaii in January 2013, a group of underwater photographers met a dolphin. The reason for the close encounter was not idle curiosity. It turned out that the dolphin was seriously injured. A piece of fishing line tightened around one of its fins, and it was beginning to choke it. The dolphin circled around the divers for a while, but soon made up its mind and swam up to one of them, exposing the right side with the damaged fin. A few minutes later, the fishing line was unhooked. As it turned out, the sea dweller was in much pain because of a metal hook digging into its skin. The photographers had no time to pull it out because the dolphin rushed away as soon as it was free of the fishing line. Apparently, it was satisfied with everything else. A similar case happened near the Cayman Islands, but this time it was more serious. During a dive, the diving instructor, Brad Johnson, noticed a small shark with a knife in its back. It would seem that this shark should be disappointed in friendship with humans for life, but Brad managed to help it. To the diver's surprise, the shark hovered calmly in place until he removed the knife. By the way, the shark's wound completely healed a few days later. Brad saw it alive and well. In the middle of Australia, sometimes animals ask people for help because they have no other chance of survival. This is what happened to these koalas during the brutal wildfires that hit Australia. The fires caused enormous devastation. Thousands of buildings were damaged habitats. You may have seen pictures of people trying to help koalas and wombats by sharing water with them or bandaging their paws. It's important to note that the koalas who have been helped by not indifferent Australians are completely wild animals. They don't come into contact with humans and try to stay away from us as far as possible. And also, koalas do not drink water. They get their moisture they need from eucalyptus leaves, which they eat in huge quantities, but the fires have turned the continent's ecosystem upside down. The koalas began to drink water quite eagerly. We can only hope that the forests of Australia will be able to recover to their former form as soon as possible, and koalas will once again take their habitual place in the ecosystem. Pay attention. If animals can ask people for help, can you imagine how many such calls we might have missed? If a wild animal approached you in the woods, you'd probably get away from it, wouldn't you? Or you'd just take a picture of it on your phone. Unfortunately, in the case of large and dangerous animals, retreating is your best option. But if you can't wait to be more empathic for animals, start practicing on your pets. Believe me, sometimes they need not only food from you, but also real help. Have you ever helped a wild animal? If yes, let us know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and don't forget to stay notified of upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and see you later.